Hey, hello, my name is Kira, and I'm trying to diversify the content on this channel, so instead of doing true crime, I'm going to be doing personal stories because everyone loves those, but here's how to come out in Crocs and preserve your best friend's virginity. So in high school, I never really had access to the internet. When I had a laptop, it was borrowed from my father who got it from work, so that was used for Microsoft Word only. And if I wanted to access the internet anywhere else, well, it was on the family computer, the family PC on the big desk in the middle of everywhere where everyone can hear and see. And so maybe I would watch Harry Potter Puppet Pals, or if I was feeling particularly racy and my mother wasn't around, the Shoes song. And so you can imagine that I was fairly sheltered until I got to college. So I left my hometown, left my family, went to college, and entered the internet all at the same time. And so, as the internet does, it introduced me to the idea that, hey, maybe you don't like guys because you don't like guys. And that was the starting point, but you have to give me credit, it was a starting point. And I snowballed from there, like my realizations from that starting point happened very quickly. But at the same time, I'm going to college, and I met this guy, codenamed Connor, and he just became my best friend. Now, Connor was such a great guy, he cooked, he baked cookies for like everybody on the floor, he quadrupled his recipe and then did it again, and he would just bring these cookies around to everyone, not because there was pot in them, but because he wanted to be nice, okay? He was that guy. And on top of being nice, we were thrown together by the winds of fate because, see, my roommate was the reason that people think redheads are evil. She sprained her ankle on the second day of classes and so then immediately dropped everything for online courses and then only left the room twice a day on meal runs. And I didn't know when these were going to happen. So, she might get out of bed at 11 a.m. and do a meal run and then again at 4 p.m. Or it might be 8 a.m. and then 8 p.m. So I didn't know. I couldn't plan my time alone. The only time that I could plan alone was my 3-minute shower because 3 minutes was how long the water would stay hot. This was rural Maine. And so you had 3 minutes of standing there in a shower stall with all the other girls, around me doing stuff and talking to each other. Well, I had my 3 minutes of hot water, wearing my Crocs, which were on sale because they were a truly lurid color, because you wanted to not get syphilis, And so, yeah, I couldn't go to my dorm, but Connor couldn't go to his dorm either, and he had a different problem. It wasn't that his roommate was unfriendly, it was that his roommate was too friendly. He was friendly with 3 different girls, and then a 4th long-distance girlfriend who would visit on the weekends. And the fact is that none of them knew about each other. Like, I actually admire this guy, not because of his morals, but because of just how organized he was to keep 4 different girls from finding out about each other. Half of my sex education came from accidentally being the one to go to his dorm one day. And yeah, there's the roommate and the girl. And Connor's answering the door like, do you want to go now? And I was like, I did not know you could be that creative. Well, this meant that between the 2 of us, we did not want to go to our dorms ever, and so we would end up walking around campus 4 to 5 hours a day, waiting either for my roommate to fall asleep or for his roommate to stop having sex. And so, as you do when you're walking 4 to 5 hours with a person per day, you talk, you get to know each other. To this day, he's still probably one of the people I got to know the best. The security knew us very well because they'd always be like, okay, what you doing here at 2 a.m.? I think the first couple of times they thought we were doing pot. And it was like, no, we ain't that cool. We're waiting for his roommate to stop having sex. And so they left us alone fairly quickly after that, but for all his good qualities, Connor was also kind of an Ancestry.com kind of guy. He had some German heritage, and so he'd learned German, and he would say German things sometimes, and it was like, yeah, okay. Whatever. So, we were going through these months of walking and talking and getting to know each other very, very well. And I'm online figuring out very quickly that maybe I don't like guys because I'm bisexual. Maybe I don't like guys because I'm not bisexual. Maybe I'm even more than that. Maybe I don't like guys because I don't like guys at all. Maybe I'm gay. Maybe I'm gay. Maybe I'm a lesbian. Oh my God. And at this point, my roommate would like glare over at me, not because I said anything, but because she was just kind of in that mood. You know, she would lift her blankets every now and then, glare at me, and then go back into hibernation. 10 minutes later, I'd make some sound and she'd look at me and, you know, that was kind of our relationship at that point. She was kind of feral. And so I'm hitting that point of realizing that I think I'm a lesbian. And oh shoot, I should probably tell someone. But I didn't. I didn't yet. I was keeping it to myself, you know. I was like, who should I tell, you know? So we hit early December. Early December. It's, you know, as I said, rural Maine. So there's like 3 feet of snow on the ground. And Connor comes and he gets me and we're starting to do our walk, and eventually we stop at the bench, and there's a bench and it's near a pond, and the pond is usually just mud, but because there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, it looks really nice. And the thing is that when he came to pick me up, I was like, hey, there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, my feet are gonna get wet anyway, so I might as well wear my Crocs so that I can kind of, you know, wash the syphilis off as I walk through the snow. I'm so smart. And so, you know, we're talking and we're walking, and then we stop at the bench, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, my shoes are so clean right now. They are so clean. And Connor, he looks over at me and he's like, so, you know, when I said something to you in German the other week, I'm like, not really, but yeah, okay. I mean, he was saying German stuff, you know, all the time because of that German heritage. And so he was like, so do you know what I said? And at that point, the alarm bell should have been ringing, but they weren't because I'm a dumbass. And he says, I said I'm in love with you. And there was a mature way to handle this, but I did not do it. Instead, I looked at him for maybe 5 seconds. I'm gay! And then I stood up and I ran to my dorm. And I couldn't even do it gracefully because one of the flip-flops, like the slips on the Croc, it came loose. And so I was kind of like, back to my dormitory. And I closed the door, and my roommate was probably like, oh, what the hell? What are you doing here? This is like, you know, not the time of day that you're usually around. You're usually gone for, you know, 4 to 5 hours until I'm like, you know, asleep. But, you know, I was back, and I kind of did her thing. I huddled in my bed, and I only ate Pringles for like 4 days because I didn't want to face him. I was ignoring the text. I was just ignoring everything, you know, until he came, and he knocked on the door like 4 days later. And after I had reacted to his confession of love by screaming that I'm gay in his face, he reacted by apologizing that I had not felt able to open up to him. That he had not realized that I was going through this journey of realization. He was sorry for not realizing that I was realizing I was gay. He should have been a better friend that I felt I could have opened up to. God, sometimes I wish I was bi because I would have married the fuck out of that boy. But anyway, it's okay because for the rest of his college career, I made sure that he stayed safe. Because, you know, the two of us, we were always together. We had all our meals together. We were always walking together. People just assumed we were a couple. And when they learned that we weren't a couple, they thought that, well, that's because one of them is gay. And you know what? He was the one who baked. And so for the rest of his college career, even after I freaking transferred schools, all the girls assumed he was gay. And that was how he didn't get laid until he moved to Boston. The end. So hey, shout out to my patrons on Patreon, Michael B., Richard R., and Lavi Pastel Queen. I appreciate you very, very much. If you enjoyed this content, then you can check out my Patreon. Everything over there is free to watch. So, hope you're all doing well wherever and whenever you are, and I will see you later. Bye.